Moments in Public School Health Education, number 2. A Tale of Two Condoms. I used to love proving my teachers wrong. What can I say? I was a bit of an insufferable kid, and I wasn't always successful. Some of my teachers just refused to accept that I was right. I'm still bitter about that ogre of a third grade teacher yelled at me for suggesting a book could have more than one main character. I wish I'd brought something to like A Tale of Two Cities or Romeo and Juliet the next day and asked her the main character was, but I never expected it would happen in sex ed. Ninth grade health class, as I've discussed before, was not my favorite. It was an abstinence-only class in the beginning of the George W. Bush era, only a few years after Dr. Jocelyn Elders had been fired for daring to suggest teaching kids that masturbating won't hurt them. Abstinence only was the only way, even if by ninth grade we all knew it was. Fake BBC show of the week. Urban 75 is still online. It is the site I went to when I was 12 to pop imaginary bubble wrap and be scandalized. That people enjoyed doing drugs is still up.
I was lucky enough to get the part of Puck in A Midsummer Night's Dream, and I felt right at home with the group of 15 girls and 2 boys who played the drinking game kings with non-alcoholic drinks and drove around Lancaster County yelling along Tenacious D songs. Like I said, the 2000s were a weird time to be a teenager. Stuff I did this week. My episode of OCD Stories is now up. Also started a public Instagram. It's at Mara Not Like Sarah. At Mara Not Like Sarah. Fake BBC show. Title of the week, A Smattering.
I couldn't help but wonder. If you don't follow my Twitter, then you probably don't know what I've been doing. Something I never thought I would do. I've been watching Sex in the City. I don't know why. Either something possessed me, and I have not been able to stop. I think somebody tweeted about it and made me curious, and as I wasn't going anywhere for a while and knew Perry Mason was making me sad, I started watching. I remember being a teenager and thinking that my mind would be blown if I watched the show, that I wouldn't remain an innocent that I was, that I would get cynical about sex or grossed out by something I saw in it. I remember some right-wing pundits in the 2000s saying there was an episode about someone's boyfriend having sex with a dog. Maybe I skipped that episode, but it turns out there's absolutely nothing on this show that I couldn't have heard anywhere else. By 17, I'd already read Erica Jong and Chuck Palahniuk and had logged way too much time on the weirder corners of the internet. I was already pretty jaded. Besides the SATC characters themselves are strangely backward and sex negative, Carrie's a sex columnist who doesn't even talk dirty and is afraid of bisexuals. Miranda goes on this weird tangent about Catholic men and how they think sex is gross, while at the same time she famously won't kiss a guy after he goes down on her and doesn't even know how to talk to him about it. Samantha has sex with everyone but is freaked out by the tiniest amount of kink, refuses to get AIDS test until it is forced, calls the cops on a group of trans sex workers. What the hell? Still, I keep watching it. I don't know why. There are definitely some entertaining parts, and it's mostly well acted. Sometimes actors I really like appear on it. There are times when it does feel groundbreaking, but the fashion is baffling. Most of the men are unattractive. I don't identify with any of the main characters. Carrie is horrifically self-absorbed, dramatic, and terrible writer. Samantha is more caricature than a character, and Charlotte is a wasp who lives in the Upper East Side. I figured I'd like me. You're such a Miranda. Usually they meant that I seemed smart, so I took it as a compliment. The same as when you would mistakenly assume I'm an introvert. I'm not. I'm like having some time to myself, but I'm annoying social. Miranda has her funny and insightful moments, and Cynthia Nixon is a fantastic actor, and I would have been a great governor of New York in my opinion, but she's not my favorite. The thing is, Miranda is mean. Really mean. She's mean to Steve and every other guy she dates. Mean to her neighbors, mean to her coworkers, mean to random people around New York, even mean to her friends. I mean, yes, she calls out Carrie when Carrie is being the worst, which is often, But I don't care much for snarky, sarcastic characters I knew myself at ages 11 through 21. I've had enough snark and sarcasm to last a lifetime. No, my favorite of the four is definitely Charlotte. Yes, the Park Avenue Pollyanna. I don't love Charlotte. Pretty much everything she says is tinged, at the very least, with classism, and she's way too ignorant to have gone to Smith. Most Smith alumni I know are type make piercing eye contact and crush your hand with their handshake. I have nothing in common with Charlotte, other than being good with babies and finding Kyle McLaughlin sexy, but I like Charlotte the most out of the four because she's consistent yet still able to change. She's good to her friends and mostly good to her partners, and actually seems to respect the Jewish religion and culture, and mostly important because she's funny. She doesn't make stupid puns like Carrie and Samantha and snarky comments like Miranda, but there's nothing funnier than anyone who takes themselves very seriously, especially when they're also incredibly naive. Charlotte doesn't think she's funny, and that's what makes her the funniest. It's a part of a pattern, one I should have seen coming. My favorite comedy characters are always the earnest ones. At the risk of sounding like one of Carrie's columns, I can't help but wonder what it is about earnest characters that I love so much. Why do I relate to Dorothy Zabornak but love Rose Nyland? Why do I love Alexis Rose so much more than Stevie, who is basically me if I lived in a small Canadian city? Why do I laugh hysterically just thinking about Dr. Zoidberg? Maybe it's because I've been jaded since middle school and have had to fight off cynicism in myself, so being able to see the world in an open, unpretentious way seems a novel to me. But I don't think that it explains all of it. I'm starting to think this calls for a long series on here, one I will probably have to call The Importance of Being in Earnest. I'm opening in the comments here, so feel free to mention which earnest characters you like and what exactly it is you love about them. We'll figure this out. We can be each other's soulmates. Stuff I did this week. I did 2 interviews about Showbiz Kids. The first one was for Today Australia. I'll be posting video on my social media, and the other was for Ireland AM, which you can watch here. Morning shows are always so fun, even if you're doing them for other countries. Can mean recording in the middle of the night. Fake BBC show of the week, Sex in the City Centre. It was supposed to be Sex in the Town, but it turns out the kids who studied abroad there lied to me, and no one actually calls London the town like they said.